can feel the awkwardness.
Yeah, I don't know what it is today. There's something in the air.
The lunar eclipse.
Oh. Yeah,
That was in the air last week, though.
that was last week.
Still
I
hovering.
don't agree, but
I don't know. People have confirmed it with me.
yeah, there was a really weird. I don't know. I think we were both in a really weird mood last week. It wasn't even weird. I wouldn't say it was weird. But you know what was weird?
That's not weird.
It is weird because why did everyone think that the weights were heavy?
Because it was a Monday morning.
No, Mondays are usually fine though. That's the thing, because it's like, okay, I see how it is. So the lunar eclipse is real, but this isn't. Guys, stay hydrated. I'm gonna insert, if you guys know the duck, the hydrated duck, the one that keeps reminding you to drink
It's always
water.
on my feed.
Also, I dropped a barbell on it, so it's dented. And there's a little section at the bottom that opens. I'm not going to open it now. If you guys use roids and need somewhere to hide them.
Alright.
Well, I'm not going to open it because I actually struggle to close it and I'm not about to embarrass myself publicly. Although I fear it's far too late. Hello, Munchkins, and welcome to the A Lover's Chat podcast. You're here with Arena
and Agnesa. And welcome to our third episode.
Pause for dramatic effect.
I don't know what I was supposed to say. I forgot the name of, I know the name of it. But
Rituals and Lucky Charms.
What, are we going to be like, welcome to our 51st episode?
Yeah.
Are we actually?
In a year's time. A quick overview of the week. There's not much Cali related stuff, but graduated on Tuesday. So glad that's over. Finally done. With that part of my life, Agnesa still has quite a lot to go. Sorry. Not sorry.
It's okay. I don't hate my degree as much as you did.
Yeah, I was trying to swap or drop. I was trying to drop out from like the first week. I can't lie. There were email correspondences with my personal tutor from week 1 about me going, can I swap my course? Can I drop it? But here we are, graduated.
It's been a year. I haven't actually had a single thought about dropping out.
That's good. That's good. Be like Agnesa. Don't be like me.
Choose what you want to study.
Don't go
wisely. Or don't go.
So I just think we should, on the weeks that there aren't any like not massive events, but like noteworthy events, we'll just talk about how our training's been that week.
Next week we'll talk about an event that hopefully should be quite fun to talk about.
There's something exciting.
Something exciting coming up.
Yeah, we'll talk. Well, I mean, we will mention it because it's like information about its release, but it's the Empower Her calisthenics event.
It's a women's only calisthenics event, which I will be guest coaching at, and I'm really scared. So
you'll get a debrief.
You'll get a debrief next week.
Yeah,
but I'm really excited. It should be really good. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
What's wrong with us today?
There's something in the air. It's that aftermath of the lunar eclipse. My training's been, I don't want to talk about it, so I don't know why I wrote this down. It's just not been moving, quite literally and metaphorically. Not metaphorically. It's but we're cutting, so it's fine, but also the cut's slowing down, so
you need to talk about the ups and downs, you know. Progress is not linear, guys.
Next week
what?
That's our episode, progress.
Oh, see, ideas just spawn.
We're just too good for this.
We're just clouds of ideas
floating around in the deep blue sea. Anyways, Agnesa, how's your training been?
Thank you for asking, Arena. My training it's actually been okay. Not too bad. I feel like my strength. Oh no, I actually can't speak. My endurance is getting better. I'm kind of focusing on that a bit, as well as literally just building up strength. And I feel like it is actually getting there. I think my pull-ups and reps and stuff have become more consistent. Unfortunately, however, I think I've lost a bit of my handstand progress, especially my one arm,
Womp womp.
because it is a womp womp. Because I was getting so close, and then with like holidays and stuff, traveling, I didn't manage to practice as much. So this week's episode, Arena, I'll introduce it.
Okay.
So basically, we were thinking for this week's episode, we were gonna do rituals.
Yeah, we touched on it a bit last week, and we just thought it'd be a good segue, and also it's just something interesting to talk about. We thought this would be a shorter episode, but by the looks of it, it's not, because we've just spent 20 minutes talking about
The lunar eclipse.
absolutely nothing. Welcome to our life. Yeah, rituals.
Yeah, let's go, because you have the notepad and I can't remember things off the top of my head.
So we're going to add a bit of scientific, not even scientific evidence, but like scientific papers that have been written about, that write about superstitions, rituals. We'll add in a few examples in the description, stuff if you want to read more about it.
That literally is evidence. A more scientific aspect.
A more scientific aspect. I'll add in the references mid.
Yeah. That's very helpful.
Video. Also, apologies in advance if I can't pronounce names. It is what it is. Anyways, quickly just going over what is a ritual. This is a definition posed by Google. Google's the goat.
Google's the goat, did you say? Or the gig?
Why would it be the gig?
I don't know. Why would you say it was the gig?
I didn't. Why would I say it?
Why would you say Google's the goat?
Because it's the greatest of all time.
A ritual.
You misinterpreted my statement.
Didn't, like, induce any kind of reaction.
You never know, they might be reacting.
Chat, is Google the goat?
Chat's an op. Although Google is primarily chat's database, I think. So for chat, Google is the goat, because that's where it derives its information from. So we've determined that Google is the goat.
Can we just carry on with the episode, please?
So a ritual, according to Google, is a behavior or routine that an athlete carries out with the belief that it has a...
Why is that so funny?
I do feel like I'm doing a presentation in like year 7 where you have to like...
can you spit it out? It's been 5 minutes. You're trying to tell us what a ritual is.
A behavior or routine.
Can I read it? Guys, I'm reading it because Arena's incapable. A ritual is a behavior. A behavior or routine that an athlete came... Oh, sorry, your handwriting is abysmal.
It is not.
It looks neat, but it's so illegible. A behavior or routine that an athlete carries out with the belief that it has a specific purpose or power to influence their performance. But we all knew what a ritual was. Guys, most of you, I'm sure, are aware.
Yeah, but just for...
It's like kind of a routine that, or like a repeated behavior.
Yeah, it's something that you do before. It's like a superstition.
Like a preparatory technique. That took us so long.
Way too long.
Let's speed it up.
Yeah. So last week we touched was a bit on
Send help today. Actually, can we look
Last
in?
week we
We
touched
don't
a
have
bit
time.
about
It's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday, innit?
You're always up till like 3 a.m. editing this. After I fall asleep. Guys, I would help, but I actually can't stay awake past 10 p.m.
I don't know what it is today. There's something in the air. Is that the remnants?
It's been half an hour we've said what the ritual is and talked like for 20 minutes about this solar eclipse.
This solar eclipse.
The lunar eclipse. What's a solar eclipse? Is that the end of the world? No, because we've lived through a solar eclipse.
Right, we're back after that time lucky. So many failed attempts, but they're green now. And straight after this episode, I'm gonna charge them so it doesn't happen again. Because I feel like we've had such like a variety of emotions right today in the past hour, and I fear we've crashed quite a lot.
Yeah, I can't lie, I'm so tired right now.
So apologies if we now seem dead. There's been an hour difference since our little loony episode. Okay, so last episode we touched on rituals a bit. We didn't really go into much detail. We just mentioned how we play our routines in our heads the night before. But we were thinking about it, and there's quite a few more things that we did.
Few of them wacky, few of them not so, but I don't know.
Most of them wacky. I think all superstitions are, because they're just what helps you.
Yeah, I feel like it's a mental game, you know?
It's just having a sense of control. We'll talk about this. This is some of the things that have been mentioned in papers, so we'll go a bit more into that, but we'll talk about our experience.
Yeah, so a few of the ones we had, so one of them I had was I'd have this lucky hairband. I remember it was a purple hairband. And if I wasn't wearing this on my wrist or in my hair during training, then I just convinced myself that the training would go badly. And obviously then having convinced myself the training would go badly. And the same would be for comp. So if I didn't put this lucky hairband in my hair, then a comp would go badly. That's about all there is to that one.
That was
lucky hairband.
Yeah.
That was for a period of time in my life, which was weird.
I didn't really hop on the lucky hairband trend.
I think, but I remember talking to a few girls in my gym about it, and they also had a lucky hairband. Or like a lucky scrunchie they put in their hair in competition. But mine was like this one, I had to have it in training, especially the week before training. Otherwise it'd go so bad.
Yeah, I know that we had like these teddy bears, the Blue Nose collection. I don't know where mine's gone.
We concluded it's up in the attic.
We did conclude.
I'm sure it is, because you definitely didn't get rid of them.
I
can almost guarantee you.
It was called Pluto. It was a little elephant. I got it after I broke my wrist. It's up in the attic. Just disregarded, just like the planet Pluto. But now I have Alan, my beloved monkey. That sounds so dodgy.
This is so strange.
This is definitely, but I don't, to be fair, the toys weren't really a lucky, actually no, I know that the Bluetooth.
No,
what are they called?
Blue Nose.
Thank you.
Well,
they were lucky in gymnastics,
but I feel like,
but now they're not. Now it's more comfort.
Well, I have I have two. One of them I got my first acrobatic competition. Who it was gifted to me by my outgrew partner, and then one of them Arena actually got me a few years later. But I have these two teddies, and they would go with me on every single competition. And in gymnastics, I consider them my lucky toys. And a lot of people, guys, it's not weird, a lot of people had lucky teddies.
Especially at such a young age. I think you don't really have like rituals, but you have like stuff that brings you comfort.
But even
But
now,
then
I
you-
know a lot of gymnasts have lucky teddies,
Yeah.
even if they're like,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, as I was saying,
It's like lucky socks. Like when I was researching, a lot of athletes have lucky socks, or they put on like lucky underwear.
I just believe that if they were there, then not necessarily that everything, like the comp would go amazing and everything, like I'd win. It would just be like a comfort knowing that everything will be okay. That sounds
That's
so
so
weird, putting my
cute.
trust
No,
in
it's
like these
cute.
teddies.
Well, it's not trust. It's just like an offloading of anxiety onto something inanimate.
It's a comfort
kind of.
teddy.
Yeah.
It literally is that.
You also wrote podium training.
Yeah. This is more about these again, these are less so about rituals, more about superstitions, but I feel like it's still
same
relevant
difference.
anyway. But yeah, those who don't know, podium training in rhythmic gymnastics is basically when you pre-comp, you're at the venue, you'll go onto the carpet and you'll test it out, you'll do your routine. Yeah, I was saying for home competitions, that would be like in a group just before the comp. Oh, this was called orientation or podium training. Orientation may make more sense. Basically, you go and test your routine.
And you orientate yourself.
Yeah. And then in international competitions, this would usually happen the day before. And this would be a bit more like you'd have more space, bit more time. Your music would play, and it would just be you, your coaches, your teammates. Yeah. But what I wanted to say about that was I feel like that was a very if your podium training went well, then the competition would go well. But if it didn't, or if something wasn't working in the back, then it would really like it'd bug you. It would disorientate you. Yeah, it would like cut off.
Do you want to talk about the loop?
The
circuits. I feel like that was quite a. We'll try and formulate it a bit better.
I just feel like that we could be talking absolute.
This is how it works in our brain. Yeah. There's a loop, which is your routine. So imagine a circle. And inside the circle, there are different circles of the skills that you have in your routine. So in gymnastics, there's things called masteries, which is with the equipment. I don't know how best to describe what a mastery is.
It's like called an apparatus difficulty. It's when you do cool tricks with your equipment.
Basically. You know when like footballers catch the ball behind their neck, like on their neck, like that, like a little discombobulated pigeon.
Sure.
We've got that in gymnastics. So in that circle, there's separate little circles, which are your skills. And if in podium training or in the back, you get stuck on a loop and you break that loop, then the whole circle kind of collapses.
You know what you can think about it like? You can think about it like a roundabout. So like, say one
Someone's been taking their driving lessons.
I've been thinking about the driving. No, that's such a bad. I don't know what I'm doing. Scrap that.
It interrupts your train of thought, but it interrupts your flow state.
The flow. I was gonna say flow state.
The last ritual that I wanted to cover was the rubbing ears one, because I think.
Yeah. See, now this is more of a ritual.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it helped. Right. Okay. This is gonna sound so booky. But it would. So the person before you would be on the carpet doing their routine, and you'd be waiting like in like the archway, waiting to go on. Usually your coach is like standing behind you, giving you a bit of a pep talk. For some reason, it became really like normal to like, rub your ears, but I think it actually like, I think it might have actually helped because it kind of
switches you on.
It switches you on, but switches you off. It switches like your mind off. You're focusing on this like weird sensation in your ears. It allows your body to kind of like, it gives you kind of almost like tunnel vision.
Yeah, but I think it's like it gets programmed into your brain because your coach starts doing it at a young age, right? Before each routine, and kind of like Pavlov's dog. In a way, hear me out. when your ears erupt, you know what you have to do next.
Yeah, it's like, okay, it's now
It's a
time
signal.
to lock in. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know to what extent that actually worked, because to me it was a bit like not
Overstimulating.
funny at the time, but yeah, I couldn't establish what I knew I needed.
Yeah, it was an imposed on us ritual rather than a self-created one,
Yeah.
which might not be the best.
But like we briefly covered last time, we were kind of young. It was very difficult for us ourselves to establish our own rituals. I feel like had it been now, the age we're at now, it's much easier to establish your own rituals and kind of analyze what works well for you.
Question: do you think that having rituals like the rubbing the ears was beneficial to you, or do you think it just threw you off? Like someone else generating the ritual for you, do you think that helped you at a young age, or would you have rather just experimented? Because you would have been curious to see what makes you do better, what makes you do worse, especially competing so much, because we had competitions almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Would you have preferred to have that freedom of generating your own?
I feel like that's kind of two different questions almost.
Yeah.
The first one being, did it put me off? No, I can't say that it did put me off. It did kind of help me focus.
Okay.
It was, yeah, I remember the feeling. It just helped me focus. It helped me like breathe, decompress a little bit, because I would get very stressed. But I don't think it kind of helped me. It helped me calm down, but it didn't really help me like mentally prepare. I feel like the mental preparation, but I needed this mental preparation a day before, rather than a few minutes before.
Okay.
So I think it would have been more beneficial for me to explore the types of things that worked mentally for preparing, especially like the day before, because I never really considered like just putting in headphones, listening to music, stretching.
It is very chaotic on competition day.
It's so chaotic. It's very
and
difficult.
although we have like practice comps the weekend before, it's not the same, because obviously it's nowhere near the same. But I think even having a few competitions to experiment with, but obviously at a young age you can't really do that because you don't understand the concept.
Yeah.
But it was also not spoken about in our club, where the coaches kind of did the same for everyone, if that makes sense.
I think they were just trying to guide us, though.
In their own way.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just feel like, again, like I said, had it been us now, we would have, and they would have given us the freedom to explore our own. I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like they were just trying to guide us. But obviously that doesn't work for everyone, because everyone is very different in their approach to it. I wanted to say something you briefly mentioned. Obviously there were comps that were less important and ones that you could experiment with, but when you tell someone you have a comp, I feel like I cannot be in the right state of mind to experiment with rituals before. I feel like that kind of thing would throw me off. Although I did try a few times, like kind of, I don't even remember. I remember trying to change my mindset before a comp, but it's very difficult. It's so overwhelming. It's so difficult to balance like actually being ready and trying to mentally prepare yourself. Sorry, that
makes sense.
Yeah, like we did have comps that weren't so important that you could experiment with, but then at the end of the day, like they were competitions to us. It was not like, okay, now experiment.
Yeah, competitions were already a serious thing in our head, I think.
Yeah, even though they weren't really.
Yeah.
In our heads, they were.
In our heads, a competition was a competition. There was no different. Obviously, there was a difference as to the extent of the seriousness, but our mind didn't really differentiate from that.
Yeah, it was like your head is in comp mode.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah, let's move
No,
on.
it's okay. I wanted to ask, did you break any rituals? Because I can't remember. I remember panicking, finding the toy the day before and making sure it was packed in our bag before we went, because it just brought a sense of comfort. But I don't remember having any rituals that were broken before comp, if that makes sense.
In what sense do you mean broken?
So if you didn't do the ritual, did you ever have the times where you didn't, and what was the result?
I don't think I really had any times I broke the ritual, but I definitely remember times when on top of me already being so nervous for the comp, I remember there were a few competitions I would literally just like break down. And I remember one, I think it was English Championships. I was first to go.
Why do I low-key remember that?
You probably do. I could not stop crying in the back. I was so scared. I was the first one to go on. And I actually just broke down. I went onto the carpet crying. It was so bad. But I did have a few of those where I was just so out of it. I couldn't, like nothing I would do, nothing, no rituals I would do would help calm me down. I was a nervous wreck.
Yeah, I wanted to say was people in general have rituals for typically one of two reasons: control or comfort. In my eyes, it's more of a comfort thing, but I can see where people get the sense of control from, because you're relying on an external factor to generate you luck. It's kind of like an affirmation. So one of the papers that we'll add is, again, apologies if I say the name incorrectly, Schippers and Van Lange. Definitely not been said correctly. But they noted that those who have more of an external locus of control have more ritual commitments than those with an internal locus of control. And what that means is, if you have an external locus of control, that means you rely on external factors for your control. So luck and fate dictating your outcomes. Whereas if you're more internally focused, then you know that your own actions dictate your outcomes. So I think those who have more of an internal locus of control tend to see rituals as more of a comfort thing rather than a control thing, if that makes sense.
That does make sense, but then at the same time, it's like, how can external factors give you control if you can't control the external factors?
It's kind of like, I'm not going to bring religion into this now, but it's definitely something that, in my opinion, does relate to a lot of sports people and athletes. But it's like putting your outcomes into something else. Like, I'm Christian Orthodox, so putting my trust into God and knowing that he like controls the outcomes, so that you're not completely in control. But regarding rituals, it's more like a lucky charm, so that controls it, kind of. So you delegate the sense of control to something else, if that makes sense. Do you want the mic, or do you want me to carry on? Another thing that Schippers and Van Lange, definitely not correct, say is that they coined ritual commitment. I believe they coined it. It's greater when the uncertainty and the importance of a game or competition are higher, which makes sense because there's a lot more stress and anxiety surrounding that, because there's more banking on that competition. So I feel like it's a natural instinct to have something else to counteract that increased stress. I see how it is.
Can you repeat the first phrase?
That ritual commitment is greater when uncertainty and the importance of the competition is higher. I feel like I'm a teacher in a classroom and it's like, does anyone have any questions? One interesting thing, I had a thought. Right, it's gonna sound so booky, but I'm gonna say what I read. So another paper mentions Skinner, where they mentioned that superstitious behaviors have been explained as an interpretation of events linked by a cause-effect relationship promoting the behavior to be repeated. So the more you do the ritual or the more you have the superstition, the more it's self-affirming to that outcome. So if you have a lucky charm and it brings you luck, the more you do it, the more it affirms that action. So kind of like a placebo, because it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Can I finish my thought? Sorry. The placebo is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But my question is, if a placebo works, is it really a placebo? Because it works. So it's not actually a placebo effect. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but it is still a placebo. Because
But does it make sense?
it does make sense, yeah. It's like, is it really a coincidence, or like, was it the chances of a coincidence, or was it the chances of it actually happening? But I still think it is a placebo because there's nothing you're doing differently, if that makes sense. But yeah, I actually agree with this one because yeah, do you not think that like, well, that is where you get those lucky things from? You have it before a comp goes well, it bring like you associate it with it brings you luck, and then obviously you increase that association with every comp, so then eventually it's like yeah. Exactly. I get what you mean with the placebo thing though. We did have a conversation about this, but yeah, I think it is actually a placebo.
Yeah. And I think just tied to that, just the last bit before we move on to the last section, because I'm aware of how long it's been, is there was also a paper or an article that spoke about cognitive dissonance, which is what Agnesa touched on at the start, where cognitive dissonance is where beliefs about your own abilities clash with your performance, so you attribute your failures to external factors. So you don't want to believe that you couldn't perform, so then you're like, oh, but I didn't have this charm, or I didn't do this. And then that's also, in my opinion, where superstitions come from, because it's kind of an overconfidence bias where you think that you can do so much better. Not saying that you can't, don't get me wrong, I think it's really good to have confidence in yourself and your abilities, but it also opens up the opportunity to creating superstitions that can later detriment your life. Your life, that's so dramatic. Your competitions and your performances.
Yeah, I agree. But then at the same time, I feel like you do need to have a bit of it, as in you do need to have people underestimate themselves. I feel like you do need to have, which I definitely did not have enough, is trust in your body and trust in your muscle memory that you can do it. That's what you've been training for. You know you can do it. I need to basically, yeah, maybe even have a little bit of overconfidence to help you, to give yourself the like mental boost, if that makes sense. Yeah. Shall I get my mic?
Yeah, go for it. Just a bit about, because I think we've spoken about rituals in general. I just wanted to talk about what we think the advantages and disadvantages are, and whether or not we think they're good or bad. Because again, the sense of comfort is going to keep coming up, because I think that's one of the most important things about having a ritual, and a sense of control, and it gives you a place to release some of your anxieties and offload some anxiety and stress and build up your confidence. So if you have something that you do, it's again the self-fulfilling prophecy. But I also do think that
Prophecy.
don't even ask. It's been a long day.
I know.
We've
but
been here for 2 hours.
More.
But I do think that rituals can produce some sort of over dependence, and then you also start doubting your abilities a bit because you start over relying on the rituals that sometimes your trainings, you might not push harder to trainings. I think over time it builds up.
I don't know if
I think it
agree
depends
with
on the type of person you are.
Yeah. I don't know if I agree with the you don't over push yourself on trainings, but I do see both sides to what you were saying.
I just think I don't think it's for everyone, but I think that's what could come if you're the type of person to rely so much on like if you have a really strong external locus of control, then you're not going to push yourself as much in trainings. I think it really depends on who you are.
It does depend on who you are, because what I was going to say is that if you are a very anxious person when it comes to it, it will give you a sense of relief to put that anxiety aside and allow yourself to focus on the thing. Personally, for me, these things acted as a place of comfort and trying to release myself from the overwhelming stress, because I do believe you need stress. It increases your adrenaline.
Of course.
It allows you to
switches you on.
It physically, physiologically increases your oxygen in the muscles and stuff, I believe.
We'll cite that if that's true.
Well, it increases your heart rate, gets your blood flowing.
Yeah.
Brings more oxygen to your muscles. So there is obviously the physiological effect. But with an overwhelming sense of stress and anxiety, you do need somewhere to put that. Compartmentalize.
Compartmentalize, yeah.
Yeah. But I never really considered your point of view with the putting a little too much
reliance on
it. Because I guess I've just never really experienced
that. Yeah, I think we haven't, but I can see how it would be. Because for me, rituals or having something lucky is more of a sense of excitement for competitions, because I do really like competing. So it's more a preparation to get myself into comp mode.
Interesting.
Because now with powerlifting, I just like having my hair a certain way because it puts me into a mindset where I know I'm competing.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's what it is for me.
I was going to say, genuinely, if any of you who are listening have, feel free to comment.
Please comment.
No, guys, we're genuinely interested. If you do have rituals before you compete or superstitions,
or even thoughts.
Yeah, firstly, what are they? Secondly, what do you believe they help you with? Do you think to a point they make you rely too much on them, that they affect your training or competition? Let us know down below.
Like, comment, subscribe. Actually though,
for real.
Anyways, for our you say section, it's not, we might have to rephrase it. It's more of a cool down in sporting terms.
Yeah, it's like a conclusion.
Ooh, I might on YouTube, because I need to figure out how to do the chapters. I think our structure should be sports related.
Oh, so, I kind of rate that.
Yeah. So we've got the warm up, or
our warm up
gathering. The gathering.
That's crazy.
Yeah, warm up. Then we've got heart rate.
Yeah, mobility.
Yeah, mobility. Mobility is more the overview.
Exercises.
Yeah. Then we've got the main training and then the cool down.
I rate that.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Let's do it.
Okay, smash or pass. So I've got a few. We're gonna keep this brief because we know that it's long.
Yeah,
this is just
tired.
In general with the gym or with training, mostly to do with the gym and calisthenics and powerlifting.
Okay.
I've got a few. I've got 7. If you have any, feel free to add.
Okay.
So smash or pass headphones.
Pass.
Same. Pass.
I cannot focus unless I'm doing cardio.
Mhm.
I cannot focus on my training. I cannot really focus on the exercise if I'm listening to music.
I zone out so much.
I focus on the music rather than my exercise.
I was going to say, I either zone out or focus too much on the music. I don't get that mind to muscle connection.
Yeah, no, literally.
Okay, energy drinks. Smash all the way. Chalk.
Smash.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Smash.
If I don't have my chalk, I feel like a part of me is missing.
Yeah.
Especially with Cali.
Liquid chalk in the gym because pass powdered chalk in the gym because it's just too messy.
I don't feel like it's grippy enough. I don't know, maybe it's the brand we have. But sorry, yeah.
No, go.
No, the liquid chalk we buy is insane.
Shout out to Cali Parks because they've started their own chalk brand. So I'll put their Instagram page up. Go follow them. Go buy. We'll do a review. Yeah, powdered chalk. It might be the one we have, but at comps, yeah, because it's there and you're not allowed liquid chalk. But I prefer liquid chalk. It's just
it's a little
cute
bit
little
more
accessory.
practical.
Yeah.
But I do really rate the chalk bags, and I really want a cute chalk
Same.
bag.
I found a panda one. They're so cute. Resistance bands.
Ooh.
I've got mixed feelings about this one.
Mixed feelings. I'm gonna go with Smash, but also like sometimes they're just like I kind of want to do it myself.
Occasional Smash.
Okay, yeah. One night stand.
One night stand.
Yeah, that one's like 60-40 on that.
Yeah, no over reliance on them.
Yeah. I do also love the feeling of feeling it myself. I
going through the movement yourself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like resistance bands for like practicing form and stuff, but also like if I'm trying something, this might be like quite controversial, but if I'm trying something new, I do prefer to try it without resistance band.
That makes sense. Gym crushes.
Ooh.
Now, not in the literal sense.
What do you mean? Not in the literal
sense? Not smash in the literal sense.
Oh my god, yeah.
Just the idea. The idea of gym crushes. Because I used to be a smash on this, but over the past, I think, year, I might have to go with pass.
I was literally about to
distracting.
Say, before.
Let me focus on my workout.
Yeah, I was gonna say like before when I first started out at the gym, smash.
Yeah,
because
it's exciting. It gets you in the gym.
It's like yeah, like will I see them today?
What time are they going?
Are our schedules synced? But actually, yeah, like I can't even lie to you. I firstly have not had a gym crush in a while, and I've not really thought about that either.
Oh, I just think it's distracting.
I don't know. That's a good question.
Thank you.
Though. That is a good question. I did not think of that.
Weights, like using weights, because I feel like we've got differing opinions. Because I'm smash. I mean, powerlifting.
I'm gonna say, okay, as a Cali athlete,
it'd be rude not to say pass.
It'd be rude not to say pass, but I would actually say smash because there are so many benefits to it. Personally, I prefer calisthenics 100% over weightlifting, but obviously, like, there's no denying that it's beneficial for you.
Yeah.
They are, yeah, it's just my mode of training that I prefer is now calisthenics.
Yeah.
Smash though.
Foam rollers. This is the last one, if you have any.
Ooh. Interesting because I haven't foam rolled in ages. I prefer to just do like stretches and stuff. Previously, training gymnastics, smash.
Yeah.
I could not get enough of my foam roller. Do you mean like using the public ones at the
I was
gym?
Gonna say I've got
that's a hard pass
two
for
different
me.
ones. Gym foam rollers, pass. No, there's no way. That's no. My foam roller, Smash. I was foam rolling for about an hour yesterday.
Really?
Yeah, I was just on the floor.
Not foam rolling, getting the like
The little
a really hard like
that pause.
like a
In the most innocent way possible.
like not a tennis ball, but the one with more like
You could use a tennis
weight
ball as
to it.
well.
You can use a tennis ball, but if you really want to like
dense.
if you really want to like get into your muscle, like use the
It really helps with the knots,
heavy ones,
the
yeah.
dense.
That 100% smash.
Yeah.
I might start foam rolling again. I have the one that we got our dad a foam roller for Christmas many moons ago. He doesn't use it.
Yeah.
So I stole it naturally.
Yeah.
Obviously if he wants it, I'll give it to him, but
Many moons ago.
I need to
After the lunar eclipse.
after the lunar eclipse many moons ago. Okay, it's not so funny. Yeah, I actually might start foam rolling again.
Yeah, comment down below what you guys think of the smash or pass. Do you have any more to add?
Well, I was gonna say this might be Callie like biased, but shoes on or off while training.
I mean, I have powerlifting shoes, which are flatter.
But say you didn't have them.
Off because you can. Squats are a different thing because I have started squatting in heels, and that has actually, well, before injury, it helped. But deadlifting and benching I'd rather without, because you can use your leg drive more and you can like connect with the nature. No, you like connect. You push. You're able to generate more force through the ground with powerlifting, and I know for Callie you're just lighter.
So literally extra weight. I kid you not. Cannot do. Doing a handstands with shoes on versus shoes off is a whole different feeling. It's weird. So I'm gonna say shoes. Pass.
Yeah.
Would not take my socks off though.
Oh, there are people who do that in our gym.
Moving on.
I think that wraps it up.
Yeah, I can't really think of any more.
We can do a part 2 later, but
yeah, I think you got some pretty good ones. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was lovely talking to you guys. We had a few mishaps. Apologies for our little episodes at the beginning in the warm-up section. We didn't lock in properly. But it's been 2 hours and more. Yeah. So farewell, munchkins. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Bye.